Welcome to my channel, to everyone who's new here, and of course to those of you who are back again, great to have you here. Bitcoin is currently trading at $108,760. In this video we will take a look together at possible scenarios for the price development of Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP and Solana. Things remain exciting, so make sure to watch until the end. So let's just get to Bitcoin. So what we have said yesterday was that we have here a trend line. If we break it to the upside, then we should at least get into this top area or into the fair value gap which we had here. So basically we went there, we got also rejected, but we have also said that we don't want to short Bitcoin while the Bitcoin dominance is still going up. And we had a break to the upside, this bull flag, breakout, retest, follow through. But what bull flags usually do is that we have here the top, and this bull flag is getting activated and the most bullish once we break it to the upside. This didn't happen, but what I can tell you is that we can just make this bull flag a bit longer. And we are still in a bull flag which is far more bigger. And yes, it can also break to the upside. It means Bitcoin is going to outperform the altcoins once it breaks to the upside. Currently 64.77%. If that breaks to the upside, Bitcoin is bullish to me. And can even get for a new all-time high in my opinion. Unless we are selling off, then it means that Bitcoin is selling off less than the altcoins. So what do I expect for Bitcoin? So the move is good. The bearish patterns they break, but they don't get into their maximum bearish target or into their user target if they break. So I can take this one out, this one too, this one too, and this one too. So far we also didn't lost the 103,500 US dollar. So basically everything is still good, and I think we can still push more to the upside. Yeah, we can also get some kind of dips, but we should still see the 110,000 US dollar. Yeah, and I mean dips like this. We get this push to the upside, this is a dip, this push to the upside, this is a dip, push to the upside. This can happen. But in my opinion, we are still in the big bull flag, as you can see. So when would I trade that bull flag? I don't want to trade it once it breaks to the upside. I can give you the price mark. So the price mark would be currently the 109,975. I would wait for those $300-400 difference for the 110,333 US dollar. Here's the green trend line. So basically this is going to be in resistance, and if we break it to the upside, then it would be the breakout of the bull flag, and we are most likely going to target the all-time high again. So something like this, get there rejected in my opinion, to retest the 110,333 US dollar again, and afterwards a nice push into the purple box which reaches prices up to 115,000 US dollar. And I see the all-time high being there before we get another pullback. But for sure, we are always talking about a pullback. What kind of pullback is it going to be? We have to track it. It might be possible that we just get a small pullback and we just get into 120k, 125k, or the 115k was our local top. Afterwards, we sell off bigger, and that's what we have to track with bearish chart patterns, and then the last push for Bitcoin. So let's dive into Ethereum. So for Ethereum we had two scenarios in mind, and one already completed. I would even say 66%. So we had a bear flag. This bear flag broke to the downside, but this bear flag is also very sharp. We have said we would open a short trade. If we want it very safe, we would have waited for the $2,410. If we want it to be safer, then $2,465. And we have also tracked at $2,490 if we break it to the downside. Then the chances are high that we're also going to break the 2,465 and afterwards the $2,400. We didn't even broke the $2,490 to the downside. This was our rectangle on the 50 minutes chart. So if we switch into the 50 minutes chart, this one here, we have had a rectangle and we have identified two different scenarios. The first one is breaking it to the upside. The second one is breaking it to the downside. So we broke it to the upside. And what happened was, we also have said we have here a falling wedge. And we have here this big circle. This was a fair value gap. And we have drew it here before, when we broke the bear flag to the downside, that we are going to get some kind of support in the purple box. Yeah, we got support a bit earlier, but afterwards get into the fair value gap, and afterwards I still expect a sell-off for Ethereum. So this push to the upside looks bullish, but it's just filling a huge fair value gap. Here, this is a price candle. This is a candle without any price action. This here is a candle without price action. This is a candle without price action. Fair value gaps. This one got closed completely. With this push, we already closed 50% of this. With this push on the right side, we closed 100% of this fair value gap. We are still missing, I would even say 30%. From this fair value gap. Yeah, we already closed around about 60% of it. And up here we still have the fair value gap. The big one got closed. So if we go into the 50 minutes chart, and this is just an orientation. This is here in rising wedge in bright blue. And this is very sharp. And this rising wedge can also still develop. It can develop to a different one. For example, this. Or we even push for higher prices and then we can form it to this. So basically this rising wedge still has some space to develop, so we can also change it. But if it breaks to the downside, then I think target $2,588 unless we form another rising wedge with a different shape. If we break the $2,590 to the downside, then I'm kinda confident that we are going to get into the fair value gap right here, down to $2,530. This should happen very fast. And afterwards, we should sell off into the target of the old rectangle. We already know it if you are on my channel for a longer time. Rectangles, the targets of a rectangle, we have targets in both directions. If we break one to the upside and we get to the target, the other target is still ongoing. It just needs time to get there. And yes, here was the target of the rectangle somewhere here. We can still get this massive push before we sell off into the other target. We have seen it so often. So basically, this is going to happen with a very high chance, in my opinion. So I can take out this from the chart. This one too, and this one too. I still think as long as we don't break the $2,720 to the upside, the target of $2,220 to $2,275 is still ongoing. That's a huge fair value gap. And yes, we also have fair value gaps lower than the $2,220. I count this from $1,825 to $2,185 as one big fair value gap, because you can see there are a few, I would say, black areas those black areas aren't fair value gaps, but they are so small that the red areas it's actually one big area. So one big fair value gap, and we have a very small one. This is just a small one compared to the one which we have down to $1,820. So basically the chances to get at least into the smaller fair value gap is very high. And if we are going to sell off afterwards to the $2,000, for example, to fill, I would say, 50% of that fair value gap, of that big one fair value gap, we have to see it afterwards. But my target is still ongoing, $2,220. I think that we are going to get there. If I want to get very speculative and want to try to get there, then I would wait for the $2,720. If we get somewhere near to it, I can try a short trade with a stop loss over the resistance. So this risk to reward ratio, if we just count it from now, it's minus 3%, potential win 16%. In my opinion, very good. I would wait a bit longer. So since I don't want to short right now, I can wait for the rising wedge breaking to the downside, and I can try a smaller trade. Or I wait until Ethereum gets even into the fair value gap, $2,710, around about that number. There I can also open a trade, a short trade, with the stop loss over the green trend line. Then I would lose 1.3% and can even earn potential 18%, 17 to 18%. If I scale up on the way down, then this can be also a huge profitable trade. So I'm basically waiting. If we get up, then I can try a short trade. If we afterwards break the $2,590 to the downside, short trade, and afterwards we have to see where we break to the downside. If we get new chart patterns, if we break the $2,417 to the downside, then I would increase my position size again. So let's jump into the next coin, XRP, which looks far more bullish. And I still think that we have some space to the upside. So we had also one scenario in mind, which didn't happen. We had here a rising wedge in orange, broke to the downside. We were thinking that we should see the $2.07, $2.08. We missed that target by 2 cents. So basically this push to the upside, we wanted to see it from down here. And that's what I also expected, but I first wanted to see this sell-off before we push, because from down here we could have done a profitable trade, 23%. But XRP decided to be a bit more bullish than the other coins, similar to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is also bullish at the moment, XRP as well, and it just did a 10.5%, which is pretty good. We have also said if we break the $2.20 to the upside, then we should see the area between $2.33 to $2.36. But I personally think that we have some upside potential. And I will show you how I would trade it. So let me first delete all the chart patterns. They are gone. This one too, this one too, this one too, and this one too. So if we break the $2.36 to the upside, which is horizontal resistance, if we switch into the 1 hour chart, then you can see it, we have a fair value gap over us between $2.38 to $2.44. I will also put you here 2 price marks. So this is my target area. So if we break to the upside, then I'm going to do a very fast, quick trade into the fair value gap. This would also close an old, here you can see it, rectangle, which broke to the downside, but the target of $2.45 is still ongoing. So this is actually also my target. but we also have some more upside potential, even up to $2.47. So let me take this one to the right side. I will put you here a price mark of the maximum target, which I think can happen. And here the target of the old rectangle, $2.45. So let's switch back into the 50 minutes chart. So we can put for an orientation a trend line on the chart, this one here, or I like this one more. So if we break it to the downside and we are close to it, then the chance is very high that we should see a small pullback, maybe into the fair value gap $2.26, or even into the fair value gap down to $2.22. And from here, get the push to the upside. We have to see how we get to the downside. If we get something like this, which can be a bull flag or a falling wedge, and then we break to the upside, then I think the chance is very high that we should see at least the fair value gap, which is between $2.38 to $2.44. Once we break the $2.36 to the upside, like I said, I'm long. And once we get over $2.36, and I don't care if we are just wicking over it, like just for a few seconds over it, or if it's going to be sustainable, I will put my stop loss order right to break even. So I'm just safe with the trade, and I'm just trying to get the momentum, because I think this is a good day trade. I don't think that we are going to need several hours or days for it to close the fair value gap. I think then this is going to happen very fast, with a good chance even breaking more to the upside. So what about Solana? We have said about Solana, bear flag, broke to the downside. We have also said for Solana, this is a triangle or bearish pennant. So if we zoom in, then you can see we got a breakout candle. We got a breakout candle which closed lower than the $143.25. That's why I always jump into the trade when we are in the retest. So I want to see a good push, afterwards a retest, and if I see that we are going to get rejected here, and yes, I'm watching the chart, I'm just not going into a short position blindly. I'm watching the chart, I'm looking, are we getting the resistance for a few minutes or even a few hours? And then I'm jumping into the trade. If not, then I don't touch the coin. So I wanted to see a retest. Since this is a triangle and we broke it to the upside and the retest happened right here, so for a triangle it's usually that, let me take out the price mark, just move it to the side. So for a triangle, it's usually like this. We break out. For example, here we also got a retest, but this is the breakout. And afterwards, instead of retesting the lower trend line from here, we are going to retest the upper part. Here was the retest. Jump into the 50 minutes chart. Where is it? Right here. Breakout, retest, and this is the breakout which I wanted to see. And this is the retest where I would also jump blindly in. Yeah, this week I didn't trade because I had a lot of work to do and couldn't look at the charts. But we will see what the next days are going to be. Target from that triangle is the spread of the triangle. We put it to the retest point. Target $157.40. We went there. Let me take this one out. Let me also take this one out. And this trend line I want to keep on the chart. So, Solana is still not bullish in my opinion. I will tell you why. Because we have an internal structure. Yeah, we are in a falling wedge. I will show you that in a moment. But in that internal structure of that falling wedge, we are having a rising wedge. And I'm talking about the rising wedge which we have here. Like I said, for, I don't know for which coin it was, I think for Ethereum. The rising wedge can still develop to a different one. So it might be possible that we jump a bit higher, then we can change the upper part of the rising wedge, then we are going to see something like this. We can also break to the downside right now and develop another rising wedge. Just for an example like this. Yeah, we have to see. I always prefer a trend line with 3 touch points. This one is going to have, it's going to be 3 touch points. If we wait a bit longer, if we get here a bounce, then it's going to have 3 touch points. So we need the bounce right now. Then the lower trend line is going to be good. If we break it to the downside, then I think with a very high chance we have a fair value gap. A fair value gap even down to 152 US dollar. And we also have a red trend line on the chart, $152.60. This is going to be support. If we lose it, then Solana is short to me. Into the $147 right here. And afterwards, if we also lose that support, that's why I will make this trend line red, then I think the chance is very high that we drop on the lower part of that falling wedge again, $139.50. So we zoom out and you see this is the falling wedge which we are talking about. That's why Solana is not bullish to me. We have to break that falling wedge to the upside, and the current price mark is 162 US dollar. So it's not far away, but it's still a bit away. And we are currently in the rising wedge, so I can expect another push to the lower part of that falling wedge. Maybe we don't even get down there. Maybe we get a push before we even get there. But I want to see breaking the falling wedge to the upside, and then I think Solana is not going to get to the moon, but at least in the area around about 200 US dollar. So with that said, thank you for watching.